We are live now again. And you know
We're
what? You have your official Bossier Watch coffee cup, and I don't even have mine. I've got some Crew of Gemini Mardi Gras from like 1989 cup.
well, it's becoming just a by nature thing. For the start of this show, I will have my Bossier Watch cup ready to go and my preferred beverage ready to go, and I'm there. It's a normal thing.
Yeah, and I need to start. I keep saying I'm going to do some Bossier Watch hats and T-shirts. I did the cups. I did a couple of shirts, but they're not really cool stuff. Anyway, so one of these days I am going to get around to that. It's just these customers keep needing tech work done and all the other things that I do, and sometimes it's hard to find time to do the really fun stuff.
Well, that's right. And look, I mean, hey, we are facing a little censorship stuff. I mean,
What?
I know. Well, yeah, you didn't see the email in Gmail from Facebook that they were like dinging us somehow for something or another. I mean, it had to be something you said. I mean, it would never be anything that I would say.
No, I didn't see that one, but I'm going to check it right now while we're waiting on everybody to join the show. Let's see, what are we up to? 20 people already. That's quick. 20 people in a minute and a half. Thank you, everybody.
Well, hey, I got a cut shared up to you. I saw the funniest thing. Now I got to tell you, this was a PETA deal, and it was pretty dadgum funny.
Let's see if I can swap screens. I gotta adjust my camera here. I'm kind of doing laid back mode tonight. All right, so yeah, tell the
Well,
viewers what's this
PETA
about.
PETA puts this little post out, and they said the next time you think of eating a chicken, remember that they had a family just like you, and
Right?
that at Mr. Louis Vuitton replied, and I love it. He said, "This is why I order a family bucket at KFC. No one's left behind."
That's funny. That is
Oh,
absolutely funny and absolutely
y-
true.
you know,
You know, I
I think that's the thing that Facebook is like going after us on is stuff like that. I mean, do we is there free speech in this country anymore, or can we not have discussion on issues? If they agree
well,
with PETA, and I think you should get the whole family bucket. I mean, does that
yeah, but
qualify as censored stuff?
well, I'm not really worried about that so much as if you look up the actual history of PETA and all that, it'll surprise you. Even people that are, pro pro PETA, I guess you would say, or whatever. If you really look up their history and some of the things that they've done in the more recent past, let's just say that they're not always on the side of the animals.
Yeah, but that's right. But people watching our show and all of us, we all believe different things. We have different ideologies on subject matters. But I mean, this censorship thing and trying to steer people and steer what you believe, steer what you thought, shouldn't we all be able to just have a discussion and say whether or not, we should eat chicken or not eat chicken? Why is it that it's got to be controlled? Why do they have to control that?
Well, I can answer that simply and answer it with a conservative answer because we don't control the platform. It's not our dollars. So if we want to do that, that's fine. We can switch platforms to Rumble, and as long as we don't violate their terms of service, or we can roll out our own. I could broadcast straight to our website. The problem is everybody is on. We have to go to where the people are. And right now, king of the hill of that is still, as much as we don't necessarily like it or do, it doesn't matter. King of the hill is still Facebook.
But speech is speech really anybody's content? Is it really
It
Facebook's
is.
content
It is
to
when we're coming across their platform and their money that they've spent, whether it's investor money or not, it doesn't matter, to design the programs and pay the developers and all that. Now, like Facebook or not, I'm not defending Zuckerberg either. I'm just a capitalist, pure at heart. So,
but I'm saying they want people to come on, create
right.
content and talk, but they only want you to
But
talk about what
well,
they want you to talk
if
about.
we don't like that, then we can choose to take our toys and go somewhere else. And
well,
we do. We broadcast on YouTube, and we've
we
gotten
do.
dinged by YouTube, mainly for music. And we can broadcast on Rumble. We do. It's not live on Rumble. Um, so I'm not trying to, again, I'm not trying to defend Zuckerberg and da 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 da. I'm just saying we can't have our cake and eat it too. And that's the problem. Everybody wants to scream about censorship and well, to me, if the federal government or the state or the local government was suppressing our speech, that's one thing because they have the authority with guns. Now, they will have a gunfight if they come to my house, but
they've
Zuckerberg
been
doesn't.
doing
I could take my toys and go
they've
somewhere
been doing
else.
that, Rex.
Who?
They've been doing that. The government. They've been
Oh, well,
paying
yeah,
Facebook and paying Twitter to censor everybody's speech. But I'm just saying,
well, that is true, and that's another related conversation.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree. The capitalist in me, I agree. If they're a business, they should be able to control their business. But when it comes to being in the business of speech, which this is speech, and if a person wants to say what they believe, I don't. I got to tell you, I'm not on the side of them being able to censor that. I'm kind of thinking
Well,
that
this
maybe.
wasn't actually censorship. I got to look into that link because it's actually dealing with their ad policy, and
Yeah,
it may
but
have
if
to
they're
deal with paid sponsorships or something. But we're not even running any ads, so it doesn't matter. I
well,
don't know
that's
why they
well,
sent us that.
well, that's right. But if they're
So,
in the business of a speech platform,
mm-hmm.
I don't know that they should be able to censor the speech. I mean, censor whether you can run
eh,
ads, censor whether or not whatever, but I don't know that they should be able to censor speech.
if it's my platform and my money, I make the rules. He who hath the gold maketh the rules. All right. Speaking of that, let's pay a few bills around here. So let's go ahead and let's do our countdown and intro and all that. That's going to take about 2.5 minutes. We got 40 people watching. We need to try to get our viewer numbers up. So we ask every one of you that during this little intermission for about 2.5 or 3 minutes, you share, tag, go get you some popcorn real quick, get you a stiff drink or whatever you want. I'm drinking iced tea. And we'll be back in about 3 minutes. How about that, dude?
Let's do it.
All right.
They feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
In all honesty, we try to lay low a little bit because of the fear that we would not be able to camp there.
And I titled it A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Hello, everybody. I don't think I've ever done a video before on here, but yeah, I wanted to tell y'all what frustrates me a little bit about permits.
Cockroach of the week is, drumroll please, Allie Feaster Smith.
We can't be apathetic about what's going on in our state. We have to all pull up our bootstraps and get on top of this. So you're right. There's a problem out there. I mean, and man, you can see it everywhere.
Well, look, we have allowed government to become our wherewithal to everything.
Well, I've not heard my name in stable or Baton Rouge in stable in the same sentence in a long time.
You're about to be killed by a Zamboni, or you're gonna die in 5 minutes.
This Bossier Watch live broadcast is brought to you by David B. Womack for all your contracting and construction needs. The Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 23 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting is an IWTP customized training provider with over 25 years of success to show for it. Call them for a free consultation today. Pelican Training and Consulting matches employers with 50-plus employees with training dollars. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And the many supporters, donations, and folks sharing information and watching out for Bossier. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. Oh, that's not even a real email, Duke.
What? Are you saying it's fake?
Yeah, I am. Hold on a second.
Oh.
Okay, so let me see if I can zoom this up off the cuff. I run into this all the time. So this is the email that you're talking about. It says, Dear Meta user Bossier Watch, some of the content on your page violates our terms and conditions. I mean, we're not advertising. Number one is the first clue. The second clue is, it wouldn't let me click and go to that link. And, I mean, you and I are both admins on the page, of course. But also, if you look up here, look at that reply address. That is not, I know it's hard to see on the screen, but that is not a legit Facebook email. So that's a scam.
Well, I defer all of that to my tech compadre and I don't go any further than that. But I will say, I can tell you how to get censored if you want to.
We can just ask a certain person named Carol Lowry how to do that as well. We can get it from the professional.
But I shouldn't be scared to say the name of a former vice president's son who left a laptop in some computer guru's shop to be repaired that had stuff all on it that is said to be, a lot of damning stuff. I should be able to talk about that. I should be able to say it, Rex, without fear of us getting our show canceled.
But wait a minute. I had one of our watchers and viewers call me yesterday. It was like a 2-hour marathon phone call, and I'm not gonna divulge who it was. Yeah. Oh, we were called bullies, commies, and associated with Hitler in a span of like 15 minutes of this phone call.
All right, bullies and commies. I mean, I don't know which one of us would be the commie, but the bully, I mean, that's definitely you. You're the bully. But
and not just
other one? Did you say Hitler?
Yeah, Hitler. Hitler was brought up in the in a span of 15 minutes.
Did they say we were like Hitler Youth or something?
No, like Hitler. Now, all right, so let me get on my soapbox. Let me get on my
stuff.
No, straight up said commie and Hitler. I mean, no allusion to it.
I have these debates with liberal Democrats around Bossier and Shreveport all the time who accuse conservatives or limited government types of being brown shirts. That's always, they say, oh, if you're a mega Republican, you're a brown shirt. You're a brown shirt. I hear that all the time from liberal Democrats.
Well, it's even, you're going to get a rise out of this. So I just changed and put the little pointy finger towards the topic that we're talking about. This person called us bullies, commies, and associated us with Hitler and the Germans because we've hurt Queen David's feelings, apparently.
Oh, wait.
It's being a bully for us to call David King is okay. King is okay, but we can't call him Queen.
Well, why can we not have a queen?
It's harmful and hurtful to his children, apparently, is the illusion that was made.
So I'm Hitler if I equate him to be a queen and not a king.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you at all. Now, this same person, though, I said, you know what? After this went on for an hour and a half, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, you're right. I'm going to turn over a new leaf because I just can't, I can't in good conscience continue to criticize people. So I'm no longer going to criticize Mike Johnson either, because that might be harmful to his children as well. Now, we never say anything about anybody's family. We've been very clear about that. We don't talk about families. We just talk about people specifically related to politics. All right. So wait a minute. Here. I'm on a roll right now.
You might have been getting a little carried away there a little bit.
No, dude.
You sure you wasn't caught up in the moment?
No, I'm telling you verbatim. I took notes.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you this too. So the deal is, if we quit calling out David and calling him King David or Queen David just to make political fun of him, well, we need to do the same thing and quit calling out Jerkovich and Mike Johnson and everybody else. But this same person, they didn't want to have any of that, because this person is very critical of Mike Johnson as well. And so I told this person to be careful what this person was wishing for one way or the other, because they might just get it.
Well, last I recall, I mean, with Jerkovich and First Church, I thought our reporting on Jerkovich and First Church has been favorable in our last recent shows. I thought we were being balanced.
On balance, it has been favorable, but it's just the hypocrisy that kills me, because the same person likes to call or send messages periodically when this person wants to use us as a weapon, so to speak, and feed information. But no. When it's about somebody that this person supports, we can't have any of that. And you know who you are, and I'm calling you out without calling you out.
Well, look, when we started the show again, we said there ain't no stone, no place that we won't go. In fact, right. I had a conversation today. Foot in mouth, whatever. Okay, no, but there's no place that we said there's no place we won't go. And I think, somebody who ran for police jury not long ago, he made a Facebook post and he was saying, talking about us, saying those guys, they've ran almost everybody in the whole parish down the road or what have you. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? A lot of people deserve being run down the road, but
tell us something we don't already know. We know we have.
And it's not us. I don't know that we're personally attacking them as human beings, but except for that some of them are just totally corrupt and deserve attacking. But for the most part, and the majority of everybody, we're not attacking them personally. We're attacking, their ideals of being a public servant. And there's too many people.
Or their abuses of being a public servant. Let's put it that way.
The abuses.
Yeah. I don't care what King David, Queen David does in his spare time. I don't care what Jacobs does in his spare time, except that I mentioned he's a former judge, but that's political. I don't care what Jerkovich does in his spare time. I really don't.
Now, here's what I want to know. So, with everybody watching, me and Rex are just kind of going at it, but wondering what y'all are thinking. We got to drag y'all into this. So, if
are we bullies? Are we commies? And are we related to Hitler?
Well, we got to use Queen David since he's the example and he's the subject that's being discussed here. If we're talking about, Queen David has been in Bossier politics as a councilman for, 20 to 30 years now. And as a result of him being in politics for 20 to 30 years, he all of a sudden, just by chance, writes the insurance for the police jury, as I understand it, the Cypress district, the port, and I don't even know what other bodies that he writes for. How much, how did he get lucky into all of that?
Well, specifically, how does
that happen? And if we talk about that, Rex, does that make us Hitler? Does that make us bullies?
It's just calling him Queen. King was fine. And see, here's the rub is King, even though we're using it rhetorically, King has an association with at least some power. And so this hypocritical person that called me didn't want us to use the word queen because as you know, as a bona fide male, and I'm a bona fide male, and we're full of testosterone and have no problem with our pronoun usage, if we call somebody queen, then that would be an aspersion to that person. But here's what I'll remind the hypocrite that called. If we're going to go down that road, then we also need to try to squash all the political cartoons for the last couple of 100 years. Really? I mean, doing caricatures of people. I mean, I on the show event listing, I had a cartoon caricature of Queen David on there, and it just ticked me off. So again, I want to ask everybody: are we bullies? Because look, King David's got plenty of platform. I'll remind everybody that Queen David. Notice I'm bouncing back and forth between the terminology, but King and Queen David has plenty of platform and actually does actively, I would argue, if we're going to use a stupid word bully in the context of adults, bully people around from the city councilman's chair. How many times have we seen him point of order somebody into submission? So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, but I'm not having any of that.
Well, I think Juliana Parks even described us as being a bully. Did you know that? I think she
throw
said
that term, and that's the problem. That term gets thrown, and that's why when I say I can't stand the word, that's why I say that, because it gets thrown around so much that it literally gets watered down, so that the true acts of bullying, as we've seen in a lot of our schools, and not just the Bossier school system, a lot of the school systems across the country.
It's the conservative. It's like saying you're a conservative. Every freaking body is Tommy Chandler is a conservative.
Yeah, right. Well,
everybody's a conservative.
Well, we'll talk about that some more when we show the city council meeting. But I have something to say about Tommy that may shock you.
What, did he call us Hitler too?
No, he didn't. But we'll talk about it. So anyway, again, you know who you are. I know you're watching the show. Even if you're not watching it live, you'll get the replay, and you're welcome to come on the show anytime. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I think, look, okay, me and you may disagree a little bit, Rex, but I think Facebook is censoring people. I mean, my wife, it's like once a week she's in Facebook jail because
she tries. She's really good at it. She tries really hard.
She is an expert. She is, but I'm just saying, on all the other platforms, they've done subscribe to the idea. You know what? Just let it all we are is the business to provide a platform to where people can give opinions, and we're not going to jump in there, and we're not going to play referee on it. We're just going to let it go. But Facebook is still doing the bidding of someone to say what's right and what's wrong on your opinion and trying to steer it.
The truth is, though, as big a fan as I am of YouTube, YouTube still does that as well.
Well, that's right. That's right. But not. I mean, they haven't, except for music or whatever. They haven't hit us on anything. I mean, we talk about the COVID stuff. We talk about that. They haven't hit us for that. We talk about Republican Democrat stuff. They haven't. They've let it go. That's all good to me, that you're not jumping in there. But if we use a song out of somebody that has a patent on it or patent infringement or whatever, I get that. I respect that. I do. Mm-hmm. But Facebook, if we talk about something politically that they don't like, they will cut us out. So again, we're capitalists. I'm saying to everybody, you need to try to wean yourself off Facebook. And I think people, if you like our content and you want to hear more about what goes on in your local politics, you should consider and expand your horizon and start trying to watch us through YouTube or even Rumble. Try to start watching us on those platforms, and Facebook. That's how they get the message. You stop using them and you stop doing it, they're going to stop doing what they're doing because they realize there's a cause and effect. Right?
Yeah, that's true, and I wouldn't argue that at all because, with the YouTube platform, Facebook's made it exceedingly difficult for people to watch content without signing in your account because they want to track you and know what you're doing and all that, and, it's part of it. You actually are aware of that because you agree to those terms of service that nobody reads. At least with YouTube, although Google's arguably tracking you if you're signed into your Gmail or Google account or anything like that, but at least with YouTube, I can go and do, an alternative browser in private or incognito mode, and I can watch the YouTube version of the show without Google tracking me, without having to sign into an account. Now, there will be some ads surrounding it because we're not monetized. Well, anyway, that's a whole other story, but so at least with YouTube, we're able to do that, or viewers are able to do that. So from that perspective, yeah, I encourage everybody to go to YouTube because we're going to publish on both platforms as long as they'll let us.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, we've beat that to a pulp, and I'm sorry, it's my fault. I keep getting off on that. But
no, I'm the one that got on my soapbox, but I can't stand hypocrisy.
Well, so tonight's show, guys, there's some of the local politics, there seemed to be some big kerfuffle on Swan Lake Road today with a red light down there, and we're going to cover that. Right. Yeah. And are we going to go down the Cypress District path a little bit, maybe some of it?
No, are we going to go down the path that leads to a front end loader and backhoe?
We can, public resources being used, potentially against the law.
Yeah, this same person that called me was also clueless and thought that the Cypress District issue was just about the watered down legislation that Doty tried to pass. And I give Doty full credit for at least putting the legislation forward. I'm not faulting her really because the legislation got watered down by the lobbyist.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. See, you're jumping off into some.
I'm way off.
Yeah. I wasn't going there. Well, here's what I would ask everybody watching the show: Do y'all want to see some illegal activity tonight? Do you want to see video?
That sounds interesting. I'm intrigued.
I'm just wondering if the people watching our show, if y'all care to see something, at least, is allegedly against the law. I mean,
speak up in the comments. Let us know.
If you want to see it, maybe we'll show it tonight. I mean, but hey, also, I hear it is just a Tahoe frenzy in Bossier City. I mean, it's just everybody down.
I've heard this too. What is going on? I mean, is there like some deal with General Motors or Chevrolet or, well, the same company that we don't know about? What's the deal?
I think everybody is jockeying for a Tahoe. Literally, they're jockeying for who gets the new Tahoe and then who gets the leftover Tahoes. That's what I think this. It's going nuts. It's a Tahoe frenzy in Bossier City.
Well, that should be interesting. Maybe we'll have to call out all the Tahoe people.
Yeah. Well, Michael Ferris says Rex is wide open this evening. Oh yeah, it's going to be hard to keep up with him, Michael Ferris. I'm going to tell you.
Filter is almost removed. I'm still trying to play nicely in the sandbox, but my limit is about hit. Let's put it that way. All right, anyway. Off my soapbox again, so.
And there was a Bossier City Council meeting today, and
yes, and it was a doozy.
Yeah, there were shots fired down there, and we're going to cover that. So.
All right, well, what do we want to hit first? Shall we show the illegal stuff first?
No. We can't do that. We have to drag that all the way out to the end and make these folks sit here for 2 to 3 hours and watch us dribble on about other stuff in the city before we show them the goods.
Yeah, okay.
We want to see. We want to see what their tolerance is,
for watching the show.
Yeah, for watching the show.
Yeah.
Oh, Swan Lake Road. I coined it the Swan Lake Road Mutiny.
The Swan Lake Road Mutiny. So what's the setup here? I know they've been working on, the Swan Lake interchange right there by, what is that called? Innovation Drive or whatever that road is. And I use it all the time, as a matter of fact, but, and 220. So they've been working on that, but what's the deal with it today?
Well, Rex, I want to take you and all of our viewers back on a walk down memory lane. Remember me complaining about Benton Road and because the bridge was out and having to drive through Benton. You remember everybody was like, you know what? You need to get some cheese to go with that wine. And in fact, In fact, I remember my co-host here taking the initiative to educate me on the zipper method. Remember that?
I do remember something about a zipper method, and it
Yeah.
is technically correct. And I can tell you, it actually, even one of my own sons was with me, and he was like, that actually works. I was like, yes, but the catch is, everybody has to follow suit. And as we all know, there are some people, I'm not going to mention names, who are just vehemently opposed to being nice.
That's
they're not
right.
going to zipper.
I'm not contending that you were wrong, because you were absolutely right. But the thing that I do remember was everybody was like, you know what? We need to get him and all the rest of them people that are all aggrieved of having to drive around because the bridge is out. We need to get them some cheese to go with that wine. That I do remember.
Yep.
But as fate would have it, the shoe bees on the other foots now.
Oh, really?
Because this morning on Swan Lake Road, apparently that little red light that they put in right there at Innovation in Swan Lake, it had traffic backed up almost all the way to the Lakewood, entrance there back on Swan Lake. Had it backed
That's
up
a
almost all the
pretty
way
good
there.
ways. That's a
what I
pretty
heard.
good ways. Wow.
And people were wound up.
And
well,
they should have left earlier for work.
Well, if you'll go to cut
that's mean to say, I know.
Well, maybe so, but if you'll go to cut 1 and 6, I mean, there was quite a bit of dialogue in the Lakewood Homeowners Association, and it got really, really good.
All right, let me see if I can get this pulled up here. Let's see. We need to do that. I need to get that out of there.
Somebody said they were too, the parish is too busy working on tennis courts and walking paths to adequately address that down there, as it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so this is the Lakewood private Facebook group.
That's right.
Were you trolling or were you lurking, I should say, in the Lakewood group?
Well, I was neither. I'm not a member of the Lakewood group, but as fate would have it, there are people who are members of the Lakewood group that, feel inclined to share what's going on the Lakewood group. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see some of the dialogue that was taking place, and we'll scroll through these a little bit.
Yeah, so this is I'm just going to set this over here, and we'll leave it kind of over there. All right, now.
Yeah, so the first person there is down a little bit. Who do we need to reach out to discuss the nightmare of the Swan Lake Road light this morning?
Who do we need to contact so they know the timing needs to be reviewed? Now, hold on a second. Am I correct that they just lit up those red lights today? Or have they been there for a while? I'm not really sure.
It's been within 24 hours. I think maybe they did it like midnight or something like that.
Okay, because I know I drove through there the other day, and I can't remember how many days ago it was, and they were still literally working on the red light. So maybe they hadn't had time to time the daggum things yet. I don't know. Anyway, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Don't know. Well, Diane Provost Pang there, if you go back that one slide.
Okay.
Go back one more. Diane Prang, this was the interesting point. Diane Prang says, Allison, I can't pronounce her last name, I'm sorry. Juliana Parks, she is the one who championed for that light, my coworker said. She has already blasted an email to her office this morning.
Well, it's nice to know we have a Julian for a police juror now, but that's okay. It's a cross between the good sheriff and the police juror. It's Juliana, but
so anyway, they pointed out that's Juliana Parks's light that she was fighting to get that light or what have you. Maybe that, I don't know. Go to the next slide.
Okay, let me see if let's see. That would be that one there. All right, so I'm gonna.
So a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's some big accident that's what's caused it." In fact, even in the city council meeting in Bossier today, they
talked about it.
Yeah, you had the man shack, engineer extraordinaire saying, "Oh, well, it's a car wreck on an airline in Swan Lake, backed traffic up all the way up there." Anyway, well, this lady says, I never saw any accident. Just the traffic trying to get through the light. Took me 30 minutes from Duckwater Landing to get through the light. I reached
Right.
out to Juliana Parks and the city of Bossier. I was livid. I don't go airline or Benton Road anymore because of the horrible traffic. And until today, Swan Lake to I-20 was pretty smooth sailing.
Well, you know what the amazing thing is I know these posts say 23 minutes and 55 minutes and just now. I'll assume that these were, taken earlier today. But the amazing thing is now we have social media and you can literally be trapped at that red light and posting this. Now just think about that concept.
That's true.
And voicing your opinion, whether it's right or wrong. And I'm not trying to say that, this situation went bad, but apparently it was a wreck that caused an overflow of traffic there. And it bottlenecked.
Well, go to the next slide and then we'll kind of move on and get through this pretty quick. But, the point was made, people started reaching out to, Juliana Parks.
Right.
And
as well they should. That's, if that's your police juror.
Yeah, scroll down or roll that up just a little bit. Let's see here. No, go to the next one.
All right. Yeah, that one was cut 4. Let me switch to cut 5.
There was one comment in here that really jumped out at me.
Surely our police jury rep can address us.
Yeah, that was the one, and then keeps going. And somebody again says there was an accident on airline at Wimple at 7:30, and then another person says no accident in sight. The light is the
culprit.
Right. Keep going to the next one.
All right. Is that blasted light? It's got to be. All right. Oh, wait. We got to reroute W.T. Lewis now.
Yep. Keep going. Keep going.
All
Cops
right.
over there waving cars. No, that's not it. Was that the last one?
Yes. Well, that was cut 6, so I assume that's the last one.
That was the last one. Well, as the story goes, it was reported that Juliana Parks, put out a statement or responded to somebody's query on the subject, and she said that's not her district. And that's an interesting response.
Wow.
That's an amazing response because I remember us talking about that, and I have a link in the notes here, specifically where at one time that was her district.
Well, not just that. I would like to remind all of our city councilmen and police jurors and other elected officials, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong for once in a while. Is there any law that says once you're an elected official of, whatever district or whatever area it may be, that you are to only represent those people?
Now, wait a minute, Adolph. Hold up. You and I had this debate before, and you took the side of Juliana. You agreed with her.
Wait, I did? I had to been being facetious.
No, sir.
Being facetious.
No, sorry, Bob. If you'll pull that link up, you're going to remember it just like you were a member of the SS. You're going to remember it.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me find this link that you're talking about here.
The bully that you are, you're going to be like, oh, deja vu.
All right, hold on. I found it. I got to get it copied and pasted over because I'm not quite ready for this. But let's see. Hold on.
Well, if I'd have known that, I'd have just went ahead and pulled it up and shared my screen.
Oh, that's okay. Hold on.
See, I got to be a better compadre here and help out. I'm sorry, folks. I'm slacking. I really am.
Here we go. Let's see. Let me see how I want to do this. Share my screen. Yeah, let's do it that way.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you wanted?
Well, that's the cut of the district. And if you blow that thing up and you scroll down real small in that bottom little corner right there where 220 is, and you see there everything above I-220, which is that line right across the middle there, blue your cursor straight left, straight across, right there, 220. Yep. That's showing up as her district.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think Innovation Drive and that red light is north of there. So, yeah, that is, in fact, her district.
Oh, it is her current district, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, gotta see here. Did you
But
pull up? Yes, you did. Huh. Okay, I may have made a mistake in the notes. Well, the
well,
cut.
so I want to know how, since my new name is Adolf, I want to know how I supported Juliana. You've got me
Well,
really intrigued now. I'm fixing to call your hand on that.
well, if you will go back through, remember during the campaign when she was running against Mindy Wardlow, and
Mm-hmm.
remember at W.T. Lewis and Innovation Drive,
Mm-hmm.
she was out there every morning helping the SRO direct traffic. Traffic was
Right.
backed up, and she was
Yeah.
out during the
Oh, yeah.
campaign
Right.
helping direct traffic.
Right.
It was her district then during the campaign, but now that she's
Right.
elected and you got a traffic
Eh,
issue at
the
Innovation
little
Drive,
people, the peasants,
it-
you know.
but you said you agreed with her about the need, and I mean back then you agreed with her
Agree with her about what? I
about
mean,
being
and you may be right.
about being an elected official and getting out there and directing traffic, and she was helping out. I
I
mean, it
agree
wasn't
that
no
she should
bad
help
thing.
out. Yeah. Yeah, with
Yeah.
that. Oh, okay. I thought you meant I agree with her that she should only represent her core
No, no,
constituents.
no,
Oh,
no.
see,
No,
you
you were.
almost had me on
See,
my soapbox
I
again.
know. I was leading you
I
right
was
up to the
I was
edge,
getting ready
and
to draw the
I know you
guns.
were. I know you were. And see, you got to be careful because see, I'm tricky like that. But Adolf, look, where was she today? Where
Well, she wasn't helping direct traffic today,
it,
now was she? Because it
it
didn't do her
wasn't.
any good
It
politically.
wasn't her district today. So all you folks out there, I mean, look, I'm sorry. You know what we're told is her claim is that wasn't her district. So
But
it was during election time, but it's not now.
but as Kaylee Larkin points out, did she get a Tahoe for that?
Well, I mean, she was endorsed by Tahoe Tommy.
Now, Ken Jenkins says, and from YouTube comments, he was there at 7:30. There was no wreck. It's my understanding, but I could be wrong about this, that the wreck was, where was this wreck supposed to be? Was it on Airline Drive and they rerouted traffic or something?
Well, you know, I think this is where Rimmer, Doug Rimmer is proven to be correct. I think it was the deep state.
The deep state. Well, if we'd have just had the tax increase that Rimmer wanted, we could have avoided all this.
I
All
mean,
right,
look,
so Kaylee Larkin.
Ruttenbuck at the Kaylee Larkin got a hold. Ruttenbuck at the city council meeting said today they were manually controlling the light.
Yeah, he did say that. We're going to play that,
He
folks.
said
So
that.
all of you that are pissed off about the red light situation, you need to listen to Ruttenbuck. Kaylee Larkin also says the wreck was Airline in Wimple and was moved to the gas station as soon as the last ambulance left. Anybody else have any details on this? Let's see. Ken Jenkins also says, thank you for the comment. To be fair, there was someone from the company that installed them sitting there monitoring, maybe to figure out timing, obviously, in a heavy traffic situation. And Michael Ferris says, next will be a $1.2 million traffic study. See, it's just more business for Ruttenbuck and his Manchac minions.
Yeah, and there was a pretty amazing number. I think it was, he gave a report today, and we'll cover that in a little bit, of $101 million in current projects ongoing. And it made me scratch my head, and I put it in the notes. I said, well, I wonder what percentage, and there's a lot of engineers watching our show. What is the normal engineering fee on all that? I'm wondering what Manchac's cut of $101 million is.
That's a good question. And all these grants that they're supposed to be writing or whatever, I wonder if they're getting paid individually for the grants or how that's working. I meant to ask that in an earlier show and see if anybody knew the details.
Well, Rex, I'm told that a lot of cities that have those grant writers hired, that they actually don't pay them up front, that those grant writers work off of a commission based off of the grants that they get wrote. But
yeah, it depends.
Posier City, oh no, that's not good enough for us. We got to pay them and give them the percent.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, having worked with some grant writers in the past on tech issues, that it's a mixture, but you're right. Most of them do get paid as a percentage of the grant, basically like a commission, so to speak. But some of them do get paid up front. It varies, or get paid a certain amount up front. It varies. I am sliding down in this chair.
I hate that for you. Well, moving on. Okay, enough on that red light at Swan Lake. I mean, hey, the shoe's on the other foot's. Now you guys, for one day, you felt the anguish that us having to drive all the way up to Benton and having to face the zipper method had to go through. You got you a 1 day dose of it. Anyway,
I do want to give a piece of advice that our viewer and watcher, Richard Harville, says. He says, a new red light is like a new restaurant. Avoid the area for at least 6 weeks.
Well, there was another comment. I wanted to show it where somebody said, oh, great. Now we're going to turn Swan Lake into the next Benton and Airline.
Well, that may be true. And look, I'll be truthful. When I leave my house, I live on Hickory Ridge. So when I leave, which is just north of the Shed Road exit, I'm a half a mile from the Walmart little neighborhood marketplace right there. Anyway, it's faster for me to take 220 eastbound, loop around to the racetrack, and get back on I-20 and go through the gauntlet of bumps and potholes and all that than it is to try to go down Airline Drive or even Benton Road. It's faster for me to loop around by 220 and 20, or 220 and then, around and all that. Anyway, I avoid them like the plague. It once took me an hour to get from 220 to I-20 on Airline Drive. A solid hour.
Well, everybody going up and down Benton Road and experiencing the zipper method, get ready, because you're getting you another red light right down there close to the water tower. So Benton Road's going to slow down a little bit more. But moving along from that, Rex, are we going to go down the road of the proton mail?
Well, we can. Let me go down, and I guess I have to get caught up on the dadgum show. So, are you talking about the proton? Which cut are you talking about?
I have my screen shared. If you want to pop that up there.
Why, yes, I will. Let's see. I'm just going to click it over.
Last week we talked about, and I can't make it small. Dadgum.
Well, hold on. I can do that a little better. Wait. Okay. Let me do this.
Can't get it there. Anyway, that's it. That's good enough.
Yeah.
So, as you know, we reported extensively on what took place with the PEC, and
right.
we played some of the audio and what? Well, I don't have the date in front of me. I didn't write that down, but someone sent us an email, and this was what they sent us. And I think they sent this to us like a day or so before the PEC. Actually, we took the action that we did on term limits. And the interesting thing is, there's what they said. A Republican PEC so ignorant that even when their mayoral candidate promised to invert term limits, promised to have a new Bossier City charter to balance the budget, and to cut out the good old boy clandestine meetups, the Republican PEC dumbasks continue to support the liar, pants on fire mayor. Imagine that.
Well, imagine that, considering they're all part of the same group. Well, not all the PEC members. Let me clarify, because you're obviously on the PEC and some other folks.
Well, I wonder whoever sent this meme, it was in an email that sent us this to us. I wonder if they think, as a result of our action of that meeting, if they feel the same way.
I will say, and I think I said this in the show where we talked about the term limits and the press release from the PEC and the vote of the PEC. To quote somebody famous who told somebody else, well, famous around these parts anyway, the PEC is becoming irrelevant. That was a couple of years ago. I see that vote on supporting term limits and bringing the issue to light in the press as bringing the PEC back to relevancy. Because let's face it, in the last year, you guys, and I'm a former PEC member, but you guys now haven't been able to accomplish much.
No, and it's moving in the right direction. You know, there's been a lot of things happened, and I would say that a lot of eyes have been opened, and now things are going to be kind of moving in the right direction. I'm thinking so. You know, I think part of this originated because we did a show and we were talking about how uh, we needed to make a team of people to do public information requests, and we were going to crowdsource, remember? And we got a
Right.
lot of response from folks.
Yes,
And
we
to
did.
those of you that responded, we have you. I'm going to say it this way: in our queue, we have
Hmm.
your name. We have you as a volunteer to do that, and we are going to uh, activate you.
Yes.
We're going to activate you. It's going to happen. Just be patient with us.
Yeah.
But as
Just because we haven't responded or acknowledged necessarily yet, don't lose hope. We're getting to it.
a result, I think, Rex, of that conversation, we started getting responses, that we were kind of complaining about. We started getting some responses to some of our public information requests. Was that because of, our dialogue that we were having with you guys about, crowdsourcing with all of you about public information requests? I
Hmm.
don't know. My gut says that it was because of that. I think it was.
Well, it could have been. And let me also say this, just circling back to my soapbox for just half a minute. Uh, this same person also mentioned term limits and that, this person wasn't necessarily for term limits, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to throw that out there that, not everybody and not even some people who claim to be conservatives are necessarily for term limits. They think that people ought to just build up whatever bureaucracy they want to build.
That's right. Well, so there were quite a few other proton mails. This one meme was just kind of funny. It was kind of, I don't. Maybe they knew what was going down. Maybe they didn't. Maybe whatever. But they sent this, and then there was some action happen. Um, we've gotten some other proton email, and one of them specifically was about a deputy chief with the Bossier City Police Department. We didn't at the start of the show, we didn't talk about that. We didn't mention that we were going to say anything about that. So you guys, if you know some Bossier City Police, you might say, "Hey, they're talking about Bossier City Police again."
Mm-hmm.
They kind of hadn't been in the news lately, but
Right?
as it would turn out, in the proton mail, we got an email that was giving us the story on a deputy chief, down there at the police department that is currently on administrative leave.
Mm-hmm.
And the the point to this is that, that deputy chief was apparently a pro Chris Estes guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now, interestingly, he's on administrative leave for policy violation. So
I wonder what the
is the
policy violation could be.
is the headhunting now happening in Bossier? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. Did you catch during the meeting where they talked about the number of people entering the academy? I think was 5, but they were still down like 15 officers or something. Did you catch that?
I did, and I also caught, I think Darby says to the mayor, wanted to know something about what their plan was, and or did they have a plan to try to fill the vacancies, and wanted to get I want to think, I hate to put words in his mouth, but as I recall, I think he was saying we wanted to get a report on what your plan is.
Yeah. His
That city
plan is
council.
to spend the Sportran money, but that's a whole other conversation we got to have when we show the city council meeting here in a minute.
Yeah. So somebody just a second ago, Larry James
Ooh.
Hawkins said, "I am glued to my seat."
That's interesting. Hey, while we're sitting here for just a second, those of you on Facebook, I assume y'all can still hear us, but we did have one report that somebody didn't have sound. I think we're fine, so it's probably just your browser or your app. Maybe close out of your app completely or close out of your browser and come back in, check your speakers and all that. I think our sound level should actually be fine. Okay. Uh, I'm going to put this comment on the screen because, well, it's in the comments, so it's public. Val Baker says, I heard or read he pistol whipped his wife. Now, we have no confirmation on that, but does anybody know exactly what happened? And why was he placed on leave?
So, what about where are we going to go from here? Are we going to?
I don't know. I'm ad-libbing. I'm not even following the notes.
I know you're not following the notes, so that's why I was like, you're enabling me to jump around here. I see on the notes on the screen it says city council meeting. Do we want to go to the boring, city council meeting? Where look, I got to tell you, on the city council meeting, credit to the city council. I almost felt like, I hate to say this because I may be proven wrong, but it actually looked like a functional city council to me.
Well, I got to say, and I'm going to throw this out there, that I was actually slightly, this is going to shock you, I was actually just slightly encouraged by Tommy.
By Tommy?
Yeah. He actually showed a little bit of kahunas.
Well, yeah, yeah, okay.
There's no way around it. I can't be a hypocrite. I can't denigrate him for not having kahunas. And when he actually shows some, albeit, he was reading from a script prepared, I'm sure, by Amanda. So that's a whole other conversation about where he got the kahunas, or really had them or not. But at least he did read that script, tried to, during the meeting. And from Darby's response, it apparently pissed a couple of people off. So I'll give him a little credit there. A little. Just a little.
You know what? I will agree I will concede. You're right on that. Looking at it that way. But what I would contend is he freaking read a prepared statement.
Well, yeah, but look, it's either him butcher and when he tries to talk off the cuff, or it's him butcher a prepared statement. At least butchering a prepared statement, he got it mostly okay. I just cannot seem to get comfortable tonight.
Okay. I have another from an anonymous source via Proton Mail that there is another on the deputy chief being put on leave. That I don't know, where do we stop here at this on these allegations?
I don't know. We stopped at somebody who was at Val Baker said he heard that the guy pistol whipped his wife. We have no confirmation of that, so I'm just throwing that out there.
This one is totally different. This one's totally different. This one says
that's the problem.
High risk warrants that involve multiple agencies. The targets were being warned before warrants were being executed.
Well, that's like criminal, probably, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean,
that wouldn't just policy violation. I think there's probably a law against that.
I mean,
maybe not. Maybe not.
I mean, but my understanding is that this deputy chief has been there almost 30 years. I mean, I know who it is, and he was there when I was there. I mean, when I was a fireman, he was down there, and I always knew him to be nothing but upstanding. But then, I mean, look, we had another officer that look what happened just a few months ago.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. Well, let's go. Yeah, let's go to the council meeting. I'm flying by the seat of my pants as usual and just following your lead. Let me see. Hold on. Let me switch this over. I guess, are you ready to go to the city council meeting?
I don't know. I'm thinking, I'm watching the comments here. Ruth Pope Johnson says, bring us in. Come on, man. I'm not sure exactly what she's talking about.
No, Ruth, I'm not pistol whipping my wife because she grabbed a pistol and whipped me back.
Kaylee Larkin says, hence the feds rolling through a few months ago.
I don't know. Kahunas or cojones, Michael Ferris asked. It could go either way.
Well, the council meeting is going to be extremely boring. Let's
get through it. Unless, what else do you want to talk about? Let's sit here and we'll figure it out for about 30 seconds. Let's figure out what we want to do and have a plan and execute the plan.
Look, there is some really good stuff in the council meeting, some humdingers. In fact,
Right.
my notes that I put in the notes, I put shots fired. So there was shots fired at Bossier City Council.
Hmm.
But then we also have video of some things that rise to the level of, breaking the law, in my opinion, in my eyes.
But
And
you said, but wait now. See, you're setting the anticipation of the end of the show. You've got me all worked up to make it to the end of the show so we can show that.
but I don't know,
You're killing me, Smalls.
is all of these people going to hang with us to the end to see it, or are they
Well,
going to bail on us when we bore them with the council meeting?
if they want to hang with us and see, I mean, and look, it's not like, somebody's out there pistol whipping their wife illegal, but it is an illegal act. Without a doubt. Well, yeah, pretty sure it is. Let's put it that way.
Okay, let's go to the
Let-
council meeting then.
Let's
Fine.
go to
You
the
talked me
council
into
meeting.
it.
Let's go to the council meeting. Let me see if I can get this ginned up like it's supposed to. Okay. Bossier City Council meeting January 24th. All right. You should be able
Yep.
let's just, you want to start with the opening of the sealed bids? Nah, not really. I mean, there were 300, there was 4 bids. One was 294,000, one was 289,000, one was 324,000, and one was 331,000 to erect this statue, monument, whatever it is, for Walter O'Bigby in the carriageway. I would argue is a stupid expense of money.
So here's the debate. All of you watching, I mean, do y'all think we should be erecting monuments to historical figures of Bossier? And I would argue that in this case, it's a historical figure and one who I would argue did good. I got to tell you, some of the things that this individual that they're proposing to make a statue to, they did some really good things for the state in the legislature. Arguably, some of the most important things that may have saved this state in some senses. So I respect this person. But to the point of, should we be erecting monuments or not? I mean, we see now that society, people had the idea of erecting monuments in the past, a couple of centuries ago. And now you see today a new society is busy trying to tear those monuments down and tear that history down. A century from now in Bossier, is anybody going to remember, these people and their contribution? And are they going to be wanting to tear these statues down? Should we really be building monuments? I mean, that's the question.
Well, and not just that. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, and again, this is just hypothetical, that somebody goes back into, Walter Bigby's past and finds some statement that he made or some action that he took that is worthy of cancel culture, and then we have to tear the monument down or we have to pay for the maintenance for it. When people go out there and denigrate the monument and, damage the monument. I mean, I can think of 1,000 other things that $300,000 or if they go with the lowest bid, $289,000. I can think of a lot of other things that money should be spent on.
Now, Adolph, listen, some people are making some really good comments here, and it gave me a thought, like Jeremy Gallman says, for it to be removed later. Kaylee Larkin says he got a whole damn roadway named after him. He doesn't need a statue.
That's true.
Julie Ferris says they got roundabouts. And then Ruth Pope Johnson, isn't the parkway named after him?
Well, wait, our good friend Barry Butler from the Butler Report, he brings up a good point. And I have no idea, but did the family own slaves in the past? Did any of the relatives of the family own slaves in the past? That's going to get out the cancel culture.
But look, I want to go back, Rex. You started the show talking about a subject matter and hypocrisy and all those things. I'm just wondering, look, a lot of people before all of us were born, a lot of you may have been residents of Bossier. You may have been. I was born in Bossier Medical Center, right there off Shed Road and Airline. That's where I was born. I'm a Bossier guy. Rex, I know you wasn't. A lot of our viewers may not have been, but if you were, to the people that came before us in Bossier, I mean, since they were before us in Bossier, what do we owe them? What do we, since they, you know, developed a Benton Road, since they developed an airline drive, since they developed a
But wait a
infrastructure,
minute.
or
What did they
I'm
develop it
just saying.
with?
Well, but I'm not
What
getting
did they
that point.
develop it with?
What are the limits of what the future owes the past?
And look, there are going to be people who
Are we-
may
are
go
we-
back and pull up a Facebook post I made in defense of not pulling down the existing monuments, like the one over
Okay,
in
let me-
Caddo. And look, by the way, and I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it again, there's a monument sitting up there at the Bossier Parish Courthouse, and I'm surprised the cancel culture hasn't got in on that one. But
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I'm trying to make a point here, and I'm not
Okay.
articulating it correctly. I'm not.
okay,
I'm asking, if you were in public service or you served before anybody else came along, if you did some good, does that entitle you to, and you and your offspring, to spoils in the future?
no,
Does
not in my
does it?
opinion. I'll answer it right off the bat. Nope.
Well, does
Because-
everybody watching this show, do y'all believe that? Do you think that
Because
if you had
this-
a family member, this is a bad example. This is a bad.
I've got a
look,
good example to use. This mystery caller, well, it's not a mystery to me, but this mystery caller used that in defense of Queen David. Well, because David's family has been so good and built so much, of Bossier and blah, 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 put my hip waders on, that we should cut Queen David some slack. It's the same argument you're trying to make.
Well,
And I know you're just presenting it out there. I'm not saying you're supporting it, but I'm.
Well, here's the thing, because I'm thinking in my mind, I'm trying to think how to say it here. Okay, my grandfather was in the Hell on Wheels division with Patton in World War II.
Right.
Does that entitle me? Does that entitle me to anything?
Well,
Being
that
his
if it
offspring?
does,
that
it would make you entitled.
Am I due reparations or something?
Well, you can
But
always
if-
ask. The answer might be no.
But if I was a legislator in the past and I was responsible for some significant legislation that arguably shaped and benefited the state of Louisiana, maybe more so than any other policy thing that came across, does that entitle me and my family to any, benefit in the future? Does it?
You know my answer, so we'll let everybody comment and see what you think. See what the viewers think.
Yeah,
And
don't
I know
think
you're speaking hypothetically, so I get it. So I would say that, obviously my opinion is no, they don't. So, I mean, of course, from that perspective, now, if this person or family had built the parkway or the extension with their own personal money, absolutely they can have it named after them. If Walt Bigby Jr. wants to come out of his pocket, or maybe he can call Lee Ayers and get Lee Ayers to donate some money that they made off the Cypress District, if he wants to pay out of his pocket to build this statue and monument and name it after Walt or Walter O. Bigby, go right ahead.
Well, I'm not. I mean, since we've thrown some names out there, I'm not taking anything away from the contribution that Walt Bigby made. I'm not. I
Sure,
mean, because the
I
man
agree.
deserves respect, and he does. Hat tip.
Right.
I mean, he did really great. But I can tell you, the stuff that I did as a fireman, and the stuff that I know firemen and policemen that have done, we don't want any respect for that. We don't desire to have a statue after us. I mean, no. That that's what public service is about. You don't seek recognition for those things. Yeah, he's not here anymore. He's passed or what have you, but the parkway is named after him, and this effort to put a statue, I mean,
Well,
we're in tough times. I don't know that statues are the appropriate thing to be doing here. And when we get to the Cypress district here in just a minute, I mean, I'm wondering what Walt Bigby would say. What would he say about what has went on? What would he say about the people that are heralding that we need to have a statue? I,
I don't
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
I think he would be I think he would agree with us and the people watching the show. I never met the man, don't even know him, don't know anything about him. I think he would agree with us. I do.
Maybe so. I obviously don't know him, and honestly, I don't know a lot of his history and the things that he accomplished. Um, but I agree. Who made that? Yeah, with Ruth Pope Johnston, who says it's just a knee jerk reaction to spend $300,000 on a statue. Ask yourself who benefits. It's not the family. All right, so let's go ahead and let's play the comments from Alice Boyer because she had some great comments over the motion to spend the money, or the opening of the bids, rather. Let me rephrase that. What do you say we go ahead and play that?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
My name is Alice Boyer. My address is 5041 Highway 80 in Houghton. I'm coming to speak in opposition to this statue.
On this bid that we just did?
Well, actually, to the statue itself. Is that possible?
Okay. Of the bidding process you're talking about?
No,
What
about
statue
the
are you-
actual statue itself.
What statue is that?
Aren't these bids for the statue,
The monument.
the monument?
Okay, go. Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm a little bit confused about why we are even erecting this, since over the past few years, we've had numerous statues taken down. Even in the state, there have been statues taken down. In New Orleans, many. So I'm not quite sure why there's a value placed on this, and I'm just wondering what the benefit of it is. I mean, idolatry should not be included in our city, functions, it seems to me. Because I don't think that, 90% of the people in this community are not going to care about a statue on a road that may even change its name in the near future. We've seen many roads around here change names frequently. And the thing is, the thing that people really care about, probably 90% of the community is going to be their leisure areas and parks. I wish we would maintain, upgrade, improve, make safer from predators, and make them exemplary. Make them something that, people can be proud of. That statue is not going to accomplish that. And, if it wasn't important, there wouldn't be a majority of these recreational areas inside all of the subdivisions within the city and surrounding areas. People care about the school districts, they care about the roads and the ease of travel around this city. They care about safe housing, they care about safe entertainment and shopping areas. They don't want government overreach. And, it's not about the statues. Nobody's going to care about that. And there's a couple of other issues I probably shouldn't even speak about right now because it's not pertaining to the exact subject, but it's all relevant. Because, there are some things there are decisions made by this council that affect very few people in this community. And I'm just kind of asking y'all to refocus on what's important for the community and the people within it. Because that statue, I may not live within the city limits, but I'm going to be passing it, and I'm going to know how much got spent on that, and wish that it was spent on something other than. So I'm asking y'all to, refocus. And the only other thing I want to add, the one thing I'm going to eliminate a couple of other items, but I'm also going to say that people do care about the term limit issue. So, but thank you all very much for letting me speak about it. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your comment.
Very articulate, very well spoken, very calm. I think she did a fabulous job, and she mentioned term limits.
I think she did a fabulous job as well. I don't think that anybody expected, someone to come up there and say their piece on a dadgum monument or a statue, and she did exactly that.
Yeah.
Home run.
And you'd be hard pressed to argue with her, but guess who did argue with her?
I'm guessing the Queen didn't see it her way.
The Queen. Okay, shall we listen to the Queen's soliloquy?
Let's hear it.
And I want to know, somebody try to keep count. How many times tonight can I say Queen David? If I'm going to be called Hitler, it's going to be for a darn good reason. Okay, here we go.
Okay, Adolf, just play it already.
All right.
To you, ma'am.
Sit down, woman.
For the record, if you could pull the minutes of when we went through the process of naming the Walter O. Bigby carriageway, and there was a lengthy discussion regarding this. My fellow council member, Mr. Williams, and I had some good discussion about it, but I think it would be advantageous for people to understand the man that we're honoring that came from Bossier City and what he's done for this state. And if I'm not mistaken, from our history in the foundation of this country, we've always honored those people that have stood up for the people and done things. And I would hate to see the day that we do not honor those men and women. Right out here, we have a monument. Phyllis, what's the name of it?
It's
for the female veteran.
Female Veterans Memorial.
And to me, that speaks a lot for the female veterans of not only this community, but the United States of America. And I think that our monuments serve a purpose to remind us of those that have gone before us and what they've done to change our lives and provide for the freedoms that we each enjoy every day. So if you could, please, we'll have that available for anyone that would like to see the decision that was made and why it was made to honor this man from Bossier City.
Yes, sir, I can have those available in my office.
Thank you.
And I'll also link it, make that notation on the minutes where it is on the website.
Well,
thank you.
All right.
You know what I want to know? I want to know is, what monuments does the Queen think shouldn't be made?
Right. Yeah, let's
let's
answer the opposite question.
Who should we not have monuments for?
Right.
I mean, he thinks everybody that come before us, we should have a monument. I'm just wondering, who would he believe we shouldn't have a monument for?
And if Queen David feels so strongly about that, then why doesn't he put his own money where his mouth is? Use some of that money that you made off these insurance policies and fund it yourself. I mean, something's got to go in the middle of that roundabout. So fund it yourself, David. And you're welcome to come on the show anytime.
I mean, naming the parkway after him wasn't enough. Now, I mean, what other monuments in Bossier are there of people?
Well, here's a good suggestion from Ruth Rose Johnson. How about the ousted librarians in Bossier Monument? Yes, maybe we should do that as well. Where does it end, though? That's the question.
I'm wondering if he's not bucking for a monument himself.
I'm sure he is. He wouldn't turn it down if it was offered.
Is he going to be when the debt burden of Bossier comes crashing in on everybody in Bossier? Is he going to want that monument recognizing him for that? Is that what he's saying?
The Mountain of Debt Monument. How about that, Duke?
I'm just saying. I mean, guys, do y'all think that we're Nazis here? Are we bullies and Nazis on this subject?
Well, you called me Adolf at least 3 times now, so We're
Yeah, but you,
we're borderline Nazis or commies, one of the two. And we're, according to the source, we're definitely bullies. Almost slipped and said the name. Almost.
yeah, you
Okay.
almost did.
All right. And AJ and Manny Foy say give it 10 years and he will get them to rename it to him. Good point. Michael Ferris says the Queen envisioning perhaps, dare we say, a statue for himself. And what about Kaylee Larkin says, what about the longest serving Bossier Parish official that doesn't live in the parish monument? Interesting. Okay. So how do y'all feel? I mean, y'all are sounding off in the comments already, but how do y'all feel? Is there anybody that's watching, and it's okay if you say it, you might get drugged around a little bit through the comments, but is there anybody here that thinks that this monument is actually a good idea? And if you do, why? And, you know, it's okay. Comment. We might talk about you a little bit, but, you know.
Well, I'm jumping ahead. You know what? Hey, something else that was on the council meeting today was Sportran of all things, and
our
your
favorite
hero,
person, De Niro, Washington. Money, Washington.
Yeah, that's right, but he had some allies today, Rex, and you were heralding one of them earlier as, you know, having finally stepped up and I don't know, showed some backbone maybe.
Well, he actually kind of, I hate to say it, but he didn't outmaneuver. He just at least attempted a little political maneuvering. Granted, I'm sure, had to have Amanda to help him, or maybe he called his political advisor to help him out. Anyway, so, you know, at least he got to stand on his own feet for just a second with a little help.
Well, let's listen to what he had to say.
Okay, you going to cue it up or you want me to bring it up?
Here we go.
All right, go ahead.
All right. I just want to state some things. I would like to take a moment to address the budget item since I've been approached and asked for my thoughts. I campaign on running the city like a business, and I'd like to state for the record that while I'm open to renegotiating this contract, I do not agree with the timing of this decision. We are less than 1 month into our current year's budget. The city council has the authority to reduce the Sportran's budget via ordinance. If the budget amendment is adopted, it would increase the city's general fund balance by $400,000. If this passes, I propose those dollars are used to hire additional Bossier City police officers, as safety is one of my top priorities. And I know important safety I know how important it is, safety is to our citizens. Other agencies could benefit from additional funding, such as the Bossier City Council on Aging, which provides vital services to our elderly population in the city. The City Council will make the final decision, and again, while I don't agree with the timing, I am focusing on making sure these funds will be used to benefit all citizens of Bossier City.
Wow. I think that Maggio and Chris Smith
because I wasn't feeling
are shocked. I mean, they have. Look at Chris. He has an actual look of shock and awe that Tommy is actually speaking.
Well, look at Free. Free's like looking down there, says, "Daggum,
what the hell?"
It's coming out of his face. It is. Hang on, let him finish. All
right.
But I watched the meeting and heard a council member state that there were budget concerns. I immediately went to our finance director and asked if there was something we need to be worried about. The city finances are in good shape.
Well, there y'all go.
Oh, really? So y'all heard it straight from the horse's mouth. The horse's mouth. And again, giving him credit for actually having a few kahunas or whatever today. City finances are fine. Jeff Sadow is completely wrong.
Guys, he just said everything's fine. I mean, I didn't cut him short. There's not a whole lot more dialogue. I'll click play here in just a second and you can hear the rest of it. There's not really anything more, but he said everything's fine. So you can all relax. I mean, there ain't nothing to worry about. Tommy Chandler said it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good. That's all you need to know.
Irrespective of the fact that how much is that stupid bond money? $50-60 million at what percentage interest? But anyway, I digress. Sadow's got to be wrong. According to Tahoe Tommy, former amigo, everything's fine. So,
someone's texting me. Pay raises for first responders would be nice. Haven't had one since 2016.
well, look, I'll give
Well,
him credit for
well,
that. I mean, he did kind of box them in a little bit and mention the pay raises. But let me say this. They're already, what's the deal? So refresh my memory here, Duke. They can't get enough people into the academy. They have, what was it, 10 or 15 officers budgeted, but they can't get anybody into the academy really to hire them. Is that basically the case?
Yeah, something like that. But
I'm not articulating it perfectly, but now maybe if they're able to increase the pay rate, the starting pay rate, arguably, maybe that would attract some new recruits.
But we're losing sight here. I mean, and to the person that texted me saying pay raise for first responders would be nice. Well, hey, I mean, look, we're told that some first responders have gotten pay raise. We're told that the fire chief and police chief both got like a $24,000 raise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what y'all are talking about, but your fire chief got him a raise, is what I'm told. Chief Zagoni.
And they're handing out Tahoes like they're Twinkies.
I mean, I don't know what y'all are griping about. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know.
All right.
So let me play a little bit more of this. See if Tommy had anything else to say, so I can close him off here.
Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was in a meeting. I think Mr. Smith was
Here we
in a
go.
meeting.
Listen.
Ms. Nottingham was in a meeting with Angela, and this was several months ago. And we were for cutting some issues, and that was one of them. And you agreed then.
Yes, sir. I said I'm in negotiating, but I mean, in this time, and y'all approved the budget for $900,000. Now y'all cutting it in the second week.
Hey. All right. So
Okay.
first thing, good on Bubba Don for calling out the hypocrisy of Tommy being for it or against it before he was for it. I don't know, it's so confusing after the fiasco that we saw last year with Sportran, but I'll refresh my memory, Duke. Isn't Sportran giving away free bus rides? Didn't they say for like 3 years, or am I imagining that?
No, that was a part of the thing. And remember, look, I'm taking a walk down memory lane here too. I remember Chandler administration saying we ain't made no decisions and made no confirmed anything with Sportran or whatever. And then all of a sudden we learn about there's these emails going back and forth with Amanda and Sportran. And so then it turns out that they were dealing with Sportran.
Yeah.
So what is it? Now you've got Bubba Don calling the mayor out saying, hey, we were in a meeting. We discussed amongst us things that we were going to cut, and you agreed. You were in the meeting. We talked about this, and you agreed. He called him out right there. And what did Tommy do?
At the risk of keeping the show clean, this is like monkeys doing something in particular to footballs with Tommy's administration. But I give him credit. At least he finally spoke up. I'll give him a little bit of credit where it's due. All right.
Hang on a second.
You getting dinged again?
Get to talking, but don't go too terribly far.
Well, I was just going to go to where Brian Hammonds asked how much money was actually spent in 2022 on Sportran. So I don't think that'll get us too far ahead. Let's jump ahead and listen to that question. It's like a few seconds ahead. All right, here we go.
Is there any way we can have Ms. Williamson tell us how much we spent on Sportran last year, 2022, when we had a $900,000 budget for it? I think it's around 1.1, something like that, 1.2, if I'm not mistaken.
So they budgeted $900,000.
Yeah, we haven't gotten our December bill yet, but we're
over budget?
We're roughly.
And have we gotten a reason why we're over budget from Sportran?
We get a detail attached to every bill showing what makes up the, what their billing is for. So we do have support for the bills.
Muchos Dineros, Washington.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll stop it right there. Muchos, Dineros, Washington. Big money. So you have me wondering now. You are staring intently at those text messages that are dinging. This must be good.
I had somebody ask me if they can call in.
Oh, okay. I don't care. Would it be our mutual friend? We couldn't be that lucky. Julie Ferris brings up a good point. So why is Bossier being charged anything? That's so Sportran can give away the bus rides. And Sportran, in turn, can pocket the money, so to speak.
Okay. I have got to find the call-in number. Do you have
Phone
that handy?
number? I can get it. All right, so just a second, folks.
Yeah,
Let's
send that to
see if
me.
I can. Yeah, let's see if I can.
So
find it
here's
real
what we
quick.
got cooking, guys. We have a city councilman that wants to call in and clarify some of the comments and discussion that we're having right now. They're watching the show, or they watched the show, or somebody tagged or texted them or something or another. Either way, I don't know if we said something wrong, or they want to clean up the subject matter, or they want to clarify, but they're wanting to call into the show. So
Okay. I just
I'm
sent you a
trying to-
text with a call-in number. Let me get it ready on our end so they don't need to call in just yet. Give me about 20 seconds and I'll be ready. All right, so
Okay.
folks. All right, yeah, temporary pause. I'll be ready here in about 20 seconds, Duke.
All right, so you were going through. Bubba Don called out the mayor. Did you play the Brian Hammonds?
Yes, where he asked how much was spent in 2022.
Yes, and go ahead and go to the Miss Brown comments.
Okay.
What do you
I
think?
want to address one question. So Michael Ferris said Hammonds asked why we were over budget. See, she said she knew why, but never said why. It's pretty simple because they build more, and I guess the city's just going to pay up. What budget?
That's what they always do.
Yeah, that's what they always do. Okay, we have an incoming call. Let me see if I can answer this. Come on. All right, can you hear us? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Councilman. That sounds like a Chris Smith.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Doing great. Can everybody hear Chris pretty good?
I hear him loud and clear. He sounds like he's in a box, but I hear him nonetheless.
Just trying to get out of this box the mayor put us in this afternoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
so the mayor put you in a box. What kind of a box did he put you in?
Yes. Hey, look, real quick. I don't have very long, but someone tagged me in y'all's show tonight, and I saw the topics and just wanted to clarify what was going on. So y'all tell me where you want to start.
Well, I mean, obviously you were tagged in regards to us talking about Sportran, and the mayor. I mean, look, I have my opinion on someone up there reading a prepared statement, and I have my opinion on that, but he basically read a prepared statement, and then Councilman Bubba Williams called him out and said, look, we had a meeting, we all agreed on some cuts, and you agreed. And he didn't, he gave a response, but he didn't deny that he agreed with the cuts. But today, obviously, he didn't have a problem with those cuts. So, I mean, I'm guessing that's what triggered you to call in.
Yeah, so we have to rewind a little bit back to early spring of last year. I was working on, one thing that I think is a critical need that we need to address in the city is the pay of our first responders and our city employees. With Shreveport given a 13% pay increase earlier last year, it really moved Bossier City Police Department to one of the lowest in the area. Bossier City Fire Department, while not the lowest, isn't far up from the bottom. And then our municipal employees. And so this is something that I'm very passionate about because, look, I think Rex mentioned a second ago that the police department's down 15 employees based on our Manning report that was given today. I think we have some in the academy, so I think that number, if I remember correctly, the chief said we're really down around 8 as of right now. But since I've been on the council, that number has always fluctuated and kind of been between 10 to 18 officers short at any given point. And you know, one of the reasons is pay. They don't get paid enough. And so I got with the finance director, came up with a few different solutions on a pay increase, whether it was something very modest, something a little bit more robust, a sliding scale based on how much you make, dependent on how much of a raise you got, you know, just a few different ideas. And I asked Councilman Williams to go with me, and we met with the mayor, we met with the CAO, and we met with the finance director, and you know, presented my idea. This is great. How are we going to pay for it? Right? That's when you have a reoccurring expense, you got to figure out how you're going to pay for that, right?
So I think I see where this is going, and it's starting to sound to me like somebody stole your idea or tried to.
Correct. And so one of the line items in the budget we looked at was Sport Tran. Could we make a cut here? Because you know, people are critical of Bossier City government, and some of it's right, and sometimes they may be a little too critical. But what's important is Bossier City has always kind of lived within inside of its budget. We don't run budget deficits like other municipalities, and so you know, when you're going to increase your reoccurring expenses, you have to have a place where that money's going to come from. And so Sport Train was one of the many line items that we looked at as a possible cut, and the mayor was all on board with it. And so then let's fast forward just a little bit to later spring, early summer. We start looking at the South Bossier route. That is launched and that is live. Let's ignore the fiasco of launching that, right? But I know we all remember that. But at the launch of the South Bossier route, it was decided that after its 6-month trial, which was late September, early October, we would come back together, meet with Sport Tran, look at the numbers of not just the South Bossier route, but all of the routes in Bossier City. What is the actual usage of these routes, and go from there. That meeting never happened. And so you may have heard, and I hope I'm not stealing y'all's thunder. I don't know if you mentioned this yet your show, but you may have heard me question the president, Mr. Darby, and Mr. Williams, and saying, have we not been trying to get a meeting set up? And that was, you know, we had been asking, we were supposed to have this meeting in October. Things happened. It never happened. And so now we need to get this meeting set up. And it kind of fell on deaf ears, to where Mr. Williams just took it upon himself, scheduled the meeting himself with Sport Tran. And so I think they...
In Mucho De Niro's defense, you know, he had the knee surgery because he did inform you all of that during the city council meeting. So, you know, I guess that would be the excuse.
Well, I don't, to be completely frank, I don't think the administration ever made an attempt to schedule a meeting.
Right.
And so, you know, then the meeting happened. So, you know, I'm a little frustrated at the notion that we just caught people off guard. We have been trying to have this meeting as a council for weeks, if not months. And it kind of just fell on deaf ears. And so we finally got a meeting time together.
De Niro thought you were talking about him.
He did. And, you know, we did clarify that. I think he got a little offended by it, but I wasn't. I was specifically talking to the administration in my comment. But that's, you know, that's where we're at. And look, I have not spoken with the mayor. Today was the first time I've seen him in probably a month. I have not spoken to him. To my recollection, I don't think he's spoken to any council member to his objection to this budget amendment. And so it kind of is, you know, if you're opposed to it, why not come speak to people, right? That's communication is key when you're in a position, you know, like the mayor's office.
Well, yeah, but you're missing the point. That's not what his goal was. And I can Amanda may have written that for him, but he or they had to have some other help because there's another angle to what he did at the meeting there, or what he was attempting to do. And that's have his cake and eat it too.
Right. And so, you know, what's important in the statement that was read is, well, if you cut this money, we're going to go ahead and reallocate it to other projects. And if we are trying to trim out money to truly do something good, whether it's pay raises, whether it's just rebuilding our streets and our sidewalks, you know, you have to try to actually save money and not just turn around and open the checkbook and write it to something else. You know, that's not really how it should work.
Well, not when you're trying to pander to your base and, you know, be reelected as mayor. You're missing the point. You're coming at it from a logical standpoint, and I agree with you, but that's not where Tommy's coming from. That was not the point of his whole little speech there.
Right, and I get it. And look, at the end of the day, politicians are going to do what politicians feel they have to do to get reelected. But what we should be doing is what is in the best interest of Bossier City. And one thing that kind of gets me a little irritated is we get so distracted as elected officials on small potatoes. And not to say that sport training is a small issue. It's not. It really is a very big, complex issue. But we get distracted on $1.5 million for tennis courts, and we're missing the big picture of things that need to get done, like rebuilding our infrastructure, like making sure our city employees are paid a livable wage, you know, and we kind of get distracted from these big things that we need to get accomplished. And, you know, if we're doing a little bit of self-examining, this council, as it sits today, we haven't gotten a whole lot done. We finished a lot of projects from the previous administration. And so if we really want to set ourselves apart, we have to start focusing on the big issues and what is really going to move Bossier City forward, and not do what we think is best politically.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Chris. Just today, I was riding around in Bossier, and actually it was yesterday, and I went down the street, and I'm going to show you can't see it on the video right now, but it is a mountain of debris on the side of one of the roads in Bossier. And you know, in the past, we did a show where we showed a lot of stuff, and we showed and talked about where Councilman Maggio had put dumpsters down there in his district at his own expense, collecting, you know, trash and debris down there. There's a lot of stuff. And the takeaway that I take from this that you're calling in about is the fact that you, Councilman Williams, y'all went and met with the mayor and you were seeking, if I'm understanding correctly what you're saying, you were seeking a way to try to address pay and or manpower at the same time with public safety. You had ideas, and then today the mayor jumps up. He agreed with you then, and he jumps up today and tries to claim that it was his idea. I'm asking you again in a different way, but is that not what he did?
Yeah, look, I don't know what the mayor's true intentions were, and
you're being nice.
I certainly don't want to speak for him, but what I can tell you is there was a point in time where he was on board with the overall plan, and something has changed, and that's fine. But you know, I think that, you know, going forward, I would hope that he will have open lines of communication with the city council and let us know when you disagree with something or you want something to be different. I don't know what his overarching goal was. I think we can all make our own assumptions from what he said. I mean, his statement is now public on Facebook and in the news, and so he's very clear in where he stands today. And so now we just need to figure out how we're going to move forward. And again, I would say we've pushed this issue off now till February 21st, and I think that was the right issue. I'm thankful that my colleague, Mr. Hammonds, made that motion. That way we can maybe actually get a resolution that makes everybody happy. But I think going forward, I would hope that the mayor will have open lines of communication with us so we can work together and not have to have these long drawn out debates. And we can actually focus on the things that people in Bossier want. People in Bossier want to know that they're safe. People in Bossier want their roads to be smooth so they don't have damage on their cars. They want to be able to afford gas. They want to be able to have good quality of life. These are the things that people want, and politicians seem to sometimes want to overcomplicate what the people want. And it really is very easy. They just want to feel safe. They want to have a nice city to live in, have nice clean parks. And so I think we really need to refocus and try to accomplish some of these things that we all said, right? We all campaigned and said what we wanted to do. We just need to actually work together and get it done.
I can't disagree with you with that statement, but I'll just offer my 2 cents again. Is Tommy was doing this from a political standpoint, not from a true service to the community and service to the city of Bossier standpoint. That's all he was doing.
Well, I would hope that all of us are in these jobs to do what we feel is best for the city of Bossier. Ultimately, I guess now in 2 years, the voters are going to get to say whether they believe in that mission and believe in our philosophy of doing what's best for Bossier. And, we'll have to see what they say. But ultimately, we got to stop having these $1.5 million tennis courts and these issues that just distract us from the bigger issues that we have to accomplish.
Well,
Amen.
Chris, I mean, look, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's a lot of comments popping up, and I got you on. You called, so I'm going to hit you with this.
Okay.
You were one of the amigos, and being one of the amigos, one of the campaign things were term limits, and that we have articulated a lot of disgust with Bossier City and people who campaigned on term limits and not getting it done. And that probably there's a term limits effort ongoing now. And I know that I have a role in that. So I'm going to put you on the spot here with everybody watching the show. I mean, I see our numbers right around 100 total live viewers right now. I'm going to put you on the spot and say, for all these 100 people, I'm going to ask you the question: are you going to support the term limit effort or not?
100%. In fact, I will go a step further, Duke, and I would like to be your first signature on that petition, because I believe wholeheartedly that is the right way to go in Bossier City and at all levels of government. So yes, 100%, I'm supportive of that movement.
Well, you just made some brownie points again with us. Your amigo status has been elevated again.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Look, I'm not doing anything for kudos or a pat on the back. I got a beautiful wife who loves me, that pats me on the back every time she sees me do something. She's my biggest cheerleader. I just want to make sure that while I have this opportunity to serve the city of Bossier, that I do so with integrity, and that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to work hard to do it, and that we are constantly working to move the city of Bossier forward.
Well, we appreciate that, and you've got an addition to the family coming, correct?
I do. March 2nd, me and my lovely wife will be welcoming our son, Connor Preston Smith, into the world. So we're extremely excited. His big sister's excited. So we could not be more thrilled to add to the population of Bossier City.
Congratulations.
Well,
Thank
congratulations.
You guys. Well, I
Chris.
appreciate. Go ahead.
I was just going to say congratulations, and we appreciate you calling in and addressing that. I know that was kind of what you wanted to address. You're welcome to talk about anything else you want to talk about. We'll keep you all night, but you did say that you couldn't stay long, so I don't want to abuse your time, as some of our friends say.
Yeah, no, that's really it. I am an open book. But for those that don't know how to reach me, I'm very active on social media. You can find me there. You can email me, smithc@bossiercity.org. I'm a real estate agent, so my cell phone number is literally all over the internet. It's not a secret, but if they need to get a hold of me, best way to reach me is by my cell phone, which is 318-840-1504. Call or text. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I'll call you back. But I am here. I'm available, and anything I can do to help anybody that watches your show, please feel free to call me.
You're welcome on the show anytime.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a great night.
All right, you too.
Thank you, sir. Well, where do we go from there?
I don't know. Let me put his, since he gave it out on the show, I'm going to put his cell phone number up. And, y'all don't abuse it too much, but he did put it out there. So I'll go ahead and stick it up on the screen for a few minutes.
He's got young kids, and he's got a wife expecting. So y'all don't be calling, waking her up in the middle of the night. I mean, don't y'all be courteous. That gum.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, and that was completely unplanned, so I'm glad to see that. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Is that the first time I know Hammonds has come on. Is that the first time Chris has come on as a guest? Trying to think back.
He may have called in once before.
Yeah,
but
I think he did. Maybe.
I think he did, but the fact that Chandler, now that makes sense. Chandler was trying to hijack.
Well, sure.
That's nice.
That's what I'm telling you is Chandler outmaneuvered them politically. I'm telling you he did. Because that's the shot I would have called if I would have been advising him.
So I got to tell y'all, if I was sitting here at this council meeting and I was Chris Smith, how did he sit there and just not want to rip Tommy Chandler's throat out for trying to, steal his moment?
Well,
he sat there during this council meeting and he's like keeping his composure, like he's like ice, got ice water in his veins.
Let me go back to this comment. I put it up on the screen. Who was it that said it? Oh yeah, our friend Ryan Haygood, and I actually agree with this. Chris needs to get tougher. So I agree from the standpoint that politically he needs to get tougher. But I understand, he's trying to be professional and nice and all that. So I get where he's coming from. My way of doing things is not necessarily the best way of doing it, especially politically. So, from that standpoint, call him out. I mean, I would have turned around and said, wait a minute, Tommy, but that's not the best way to do it.
I got to tell you, well, I'm going to jump ahead real quick. Look, Darby, I put in the comments, shot fired. We're going to move on here a little bit. And
okay,
let me
address Ryan Haygood's comment. So he says Chandler didn't outmaneuver anyone with that mumbling ramble. Well, you have a good point, Ryan. I would agree with that also. Let me rephrase that. He attempted and theoretically could have outmaneuvered them had he not mumbled through it. But anyway, that's a
Now,
whole other point.
now Larry Hawkins, he just nominated Chris Smith for the good cockroach of the week. Now we haven't had one in a long time.
We haven't had
So
one in a long time.
I think that's a pretty good nomination as it stands right now. But
Yeah, I would say it is.
I want y'all to hear, and I don't know, this may not come off right, but I want you to hear Darby, and he was kind of critical of De Niro. So listen to this.
Yeah, let me go back to replay. Go ahead. Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Now,
well, yeah. Here in a second, Mucho De Niro answers or responds to that, but that was interesting.
But you were talking about how nice Chris Smith is. How nice? Oh, wait a minute. Ken Stevens says,
"Oh, no sound. Hold on. Let me crank. I had to turn that sound down. All right, go back and play that again. Sorry, folks. Play it again.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to take the information that we heard today from Ms. Brown, Mr. Keith, and we're going to look at options. And Mr. Washington is fully aware that we as a council gave him information on that meeting we held, and we were upfront with you, Mr. Washington, about our concerns. And today, you are telling us what we already know. We appreciate that. But you also doing what we asked you not to do as well in public, as you did with your public announcement recently. But that being the case, we're not going to hold it against you. We just appreciate you being here. We're going to move on past this item. Thank you, sir.
We're not going to hold that against you, but I'm going to sit here and admit it and admonish you for it. But we're not going to hold that against you.
Now, you want to talk about Chris Smith being nice. I mean, look, Darby right there showed some skills. He just put a beat down on that guy.
He dressed
and
him
did
down.
it in so nice of a way. I'm talking about that's some quality politics right there.
Yeah,
because what he's talking about and is the agreed upon thing between the council and Sportran that they weren't going to criticize each other publicly. And then Sportran goes out there, runs down the city. That's what he was talking about. He said
interesting side note. I don't remember hearing that agreement anywhere in a city council meeting. Do you?
No, but
So I wonder how they communicated that to each other.
Okay, well, don't screw the moment up here. Come on, be nice. I mean, the council is being right here. I'm impressed. This council,
Darby did good.
cohesive.
Yeah,
they are doing the bidding, having public debate. They're having debate here on the subject.
I would argue Tommy's comments shocked them into line with each other. They're like, wait, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, he did. But overall, this is what it's about. I mean, this is what it's about. I mean, I'm commending, all the councilmen, because I think they're doing a good job. Even the Queen is doing a good job here because they're standing together. They're showing a front.
Well, now I want to puke, but you're correct.
I know. I said it right there. I mean,
I know. All right, so go ahead and play. But Mucho De Niro had a counter to that, just a little bit.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, ma'am. You have to come up here, ma'am.
I will leave a petition that was dropped off at my office for the service. I'm not sure what I did I wasn't supposed to do. You asked me to present the service to you.
No one asked you to come and speak today unless the mayor asked. So you're here at the wishes of someone. I don't know if it's the mayor, because we really didn't schedule you to speak, but I'm glad you're here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mucho De Niro kind of thrashed around in the water there for a second. Darby immediately went fishing for him.
Darby was on his game. He said, I don't know who asked you here to speak. Maybe it was the mayor, but it wasn't us.
And notice he got no answer.
Oh, yeah, we didn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Well, what? I mean, and I don't know, maybe we'll show a little bit of it here in a second, but you had handicapped people, you had the blind, you had students going to BIPSI, you had every special interest group, you know, with things all articulating for how horrible this cut in service was going to be for Sportran and De Niro putting it together. Now, the council didn't put this together to oppose them making a cut. So who else could it have been?
Politics makes strange bedfellows. Mucho dinero and Tahoe Tommy strike again.
So the Tahoe Army in City Hall, you know, obviously is in bed with, you know, the city of Shreveport. Now I'm going to say something else, and I was going to ask Chris Smith when he was on about this, but I understand that, you know, he mentioned a 13% raise. Well, if I understood correctly that Sportran, the justified reason for their increase in rates was because they gave a 13% raise to all of Sportran to match what the city of Shreveport did to their police department and fire department over there. That they made some connection and that Bossier City was somehow going to be paying for that. That was the difference.
That's interesting. That's that's a shuffle of dollar signs around. All right. Well, that's interesting. Was there any other comments that were really worth listening? Well, there is the one at 3154 that Chris mentioned about clarifying the timing of the meeting, but he talked about that on his call-in. So,
well, one of the people that got up and spoke and was trying to defend, you know, against the cuts, he had the answer, and I don't want to be mean because I appreciate, even though I may disagree, he had the answer to the city's problem. And I don't know, I'm thinking that everyone in government ought to listen to this answer, and they would find the solutions to everything. Police jury, are y'all listening up? Right. Just listen right here. Listen to this, Rex.
It would be very difficult for people to get to work and go to school. And also, my suggestion is if you need money, there's other ways to get money. You can maybe get it from you can cut and still not cut services. Plus, you can have more. Maybe there's a way you can ask the state or you can ask the federal government to subsidize. And also, what I'm suggesting is that maybe you could extend it because, I work, on holidays, like on Thanksgiving and...
Well, basically, you just need to get the state and the government to pay for it, Rex.
Yeah, it's free, right?
Free money that just needs to be subsidized.
I mean, Mucho Dinero is offering these Sportran rides for free, too. Those are all just completely free, right?
It don't cost nobody nothing. The money
just magically comes up.
Anywhere.
Yeah, they don't have to pay their employees. The natural gas or whatever they're running doesn't cost them anything. Neither does the wear and tear. It's just all magic.
Magic money. Magic money.
I could say so much right now, but I will try to be a little bit nicer.
Well, I don't know how much further you want to go on the council stuff. I say we jump right ahead because there was some interesting stuff in the financials, but I think that may bore a lot of people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's the gist of it? Was there anything good or bad at this point on the financials?
Well, let me play a brief little part from the finance director. Obviously, the finance director hadn't taken any direction from the guy who had the answer.
You have before you the financials for the month ended December 31st, 2022.
It's not on there. Yeah, it is. I mean, on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Can you blow it up? Oh, where it is.
What's wrong, gentlemen?
Nothing.
No, we're looking for
Nothing, honey.
paper, but it's not on paper. It's
Philip is like the mother hen of the city council meeting. Hey, what are y'all up to?
use your finger and blow it
Oh,
up.
nothing. We're just over here. Nothing, Mom.
No, do you use your finger? There you go. Get y'all that book at Barnes and Noble.
I can't read.
I use the arrow key right there.
Now, wait a minute. I forgot. There's a point I wanted to make here.
Okay.
Can y'all look at who's still present in the chambers there, and who's not?
Well, yeah. More importantly, who's not? Where's Queen David?
Well, I thought I put it in the notes here, but I just wanted to point out that he's gone. He got up and walked out.
Well, he is an accountant. You know, he is a CPA or whatever. He's, remind us of that many times.
Yeah. Here we go.
Good point, Kyle. If the mayor said it, it must be true.
No, we're looking for paper, but it's not on paper.
Okay, I am torturing everybody here. I am sorry.
Yes. You're killing us again, Smalls.
I am.
Page 1 is the revenue by fund report.
Here we go.
The city is currently 27% over budget.
Did you hear that?
27% over budget. Did I hear that correctly?
That's what she just said, but this is for the month of December.
Well, when's their year end? I mean, I'm no accountant or CPA by any stretch of the means.
Well,
so it could fluctuate some more, right?
But I'm told that that's not an accurate number, and I haven't completely, and that she didn't pronounce that correctly or whatever, but she said, the city is over budgeted by 27%. Now, this also is said to be about revenues.
Okay.
I don't know. We're going to have to dig a little more, but clearly she said that. Here, I'll play it again.
Page 1 is the revenue by fund report. The city is currently 27% over budget. Hotel.
And you can see it right there. Let me put up a little pointer. That'll make it easier. Right there, where it says 127%. 100% is 1, so 127% will put us 27% over.
Yeah, so that was one thing.
But maybe they don't. Maybe they're waiting on some revenue, some more tax dollars, or it's kind of like shuffling food around your plate when your mama tells you to eat everything on your plate.
Yeah, and later on in the notes, I mean, the Queen David ended up walking in, and he made some comment about this and some clarification, and I thought I had put it in the notes, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I skipped past it. But we're going to jump ahead again to the next section, try to get this wrapped up. What good would there be a council meeting without something from Ruttenbuck? So let's hear what he had to say real quick.
If you stole it, bring it back.
Okay, just a quick update, general overview of everything we have going on in the engineering department. Still maintaining an ongoing capital improvement program of over 100 million.
So earlier we pointed out, 101 million in ongoing design and construction project. Well, what percent of that is Manshack getting? What engineers work off of a percentage of the jobs and the money amount. What are they getting? That's my question.
Well, somebody's getting rich and making money.
That's correct.
Million with projects in design and construction. Currently 93 million of that is under construction. 9 projects in the design or bid phase, 11 projects under construction, and we have 5 subdivisions in or nearing the construction phase.
So let's jump ahead. Now, he started talking about the Walter O. Bigby carriageway project. Now, and he talked about how they're taking all these aerial photos. So folks, look at this aerial photo right here. This is looking from the river back towards Benton Road, looking towards the south, towards the Civic Center. And if you'll notice, you see the railroad tracks and you see the big curve in the road. It kind of, if you look at the top right of the screen, it goes right there, then makes a hard turn back to the parallel to the railroad tracks and runs all this distance up before it crosses the railroad tracks. I'm wondering, don't y'all think it would have been a whole lot more reasonable to just jump it across the railroad tracks onto Shed Road? Why did all this extra section there have to be built? Why did that have to be done when it could have just went right across the railroad tracks, just right down there at the top of the screen, just right there on the Shed Road to the east-west corridor, another
Yeah, let me
east-west
put a.
corridor,
Are you talking about right up around there?
right there.
Yeah.
So it's going to dump onto Benton Road down there, but we had to do all this other. You draw that cursor all the way parallel to the railroad tracks down. So how much extra does all of that money cost? Did it add to this project, and why?
And why?
And about where your cursor is, Rex, put it back and move
Okay.
it back just a little bit more, a little to the left, a little bit more to the left, a little bit more, a little bit more. Well, down a little bit. Right there. There's the castle. There's the castle. That's John Settle's hacienda right there, right?
Yeah. Sure
And
it
he's got a
is.
neighbor. He's got a neighbor right beside him.
Oh, and who would that be?
Well, that's where the king and the queen stay.
No kidding. Funny how that works.
Right there. Anyway, okay, we can move on past this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a done deal. It's money in the bank, literally.
Money in the bank.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we are. We're done with the council meeting.
Well, that's it. Council meeting, and look, y'all can go back and watch it if you want. The whole thing was about 100 or an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. But it was quite interesting. And look, some of the people made good points, whether I agree with them or not on the whole Sportran deal. You know, I don't necessarily agree with it, but again, you know, there were some points to be made if you're interested in that sort of thing.
All right, Rex. So there's, 80 to 90 people still hanging out here for some reason. I'm almost like they're waiting on something.
No. What are we supposed to do? Did we forget something?
I'm thinking we're supposed to talk about something else. In fact, we told them
Now,
we were going to show a video and we were going to talk about something else.
Was it videos of somebody's flower bed that just won the Bossier Beautification Award?
I don't know that was it. I mean,
you mean people aren't here to see the good stuff?
Maybe not.
Depends on your.
No, wait a minute. No. It may have been something else. You know what? There was a Twitter link. We ain't gonna beat around the bush. Who wants to see it? Who wants to see some video?
Yeah. All right. Now we have to set this up first. It's not like this is polished, edited. 10 minutes worth of video or whatever. So we just want to set it up with that. Now, do you want me to go ahead and play it or share it? It'll be smoother if I play it.
Well, you can play it, but I'm going to set it up. How's that sound?
Okay, so you go ahead and set it up. Let me see if I can get the screen to work without it playing video.
Well, Larry Hawkins, if this video is already on KSLA has some questions to answer.
Yeah, no, it ain't on KSLA.
So, talking about Walt Bigby, and we're not talking about the original Walt Bigby that did a lot of good things, but Walt Bigby.
This would be the junior.
The junior happens to be one of the members of the Cypress Black Bayou Recreation Conservation District, who, they all have the best interests of the people who pay the taxes for the Cypress District and, even use taxpayer dollars to hire a lobbyist to fight against Dodie Horton and trying to get, some accountability to the Cypress district out there. They went all in to fight and helping to fight for Robert Berry out there, the director, dual
Yeah,
office holding,
that's right.
fighting for all that stuff. Well, someone called and they said, "Hey, isn't it time that Robert Berry isn't his time up and he's about to be reappointed to be the director of the Cypress district again?" Now, Rex, I'll point out last show when I played the audio of the PEC meeting, and remember Doug
Right.
Rimmer said, because I pointed out that the police jury failed to act and do anything about the Cypress district when their constituents came to the police jury asking them to help and do things. And I have even raised it at the PEC meeting in the past. Juliana Parks popped her head up on it, and Doug Rimmer popped his head up and contradicted himself. We got video of him saying one thing one time and saying another thing another time. But in that last meeting, remember, he says, we're hoping that this problem out at the Cypress district works itself out this year.
There's only
after that phone,
only a few ways it could work itself out.
Well, after that phone call today, I realized what he was meaning. What he was meaning is he's hoping, or maybe he's probably not really hoping, but that's what he was saying. Who knows what he really believes? But that Robert Berry was voluntarily not going to take the director's position, or that Walt Bigby and crew are not going to reappoint him as the director. Okay, and lead balloons fly well.
Right.
So in the spirit of trying to inform the public, whereas the police jury and your other elected officials would rather carry the water for some people and, more concerned about erecting monuments and making sure that certain people get the insurance for the contracts, we thought we would share a little bit of information. So sometime back, and we're going to be going to cut 10 here in just a second, Rex.
Okay.
Bossier Watch got a tip. And that tip was that there was property that adjoins the entrance to the Cypress district. And that property was summarily owned by Robert Berry or purchased by Robert Berry, the director. And the tip was that there were Cypress district park assets on the property of Robert Berry's personal property right there outside the gate of the park.
Wait a minute. He owns property right outside the gate of the Cypress Park, like adjacent to the park?
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I've got cut 10 queued up whenever you're ready. So you just let me know when to fire away, and we'll see what this is about.
Yeah, so fire away with cut 10. So here's the picture that they sent to us. And that picture, you see a backhoe and you see a four-wheeler. Well, what we're told is that backhoe and that four-wheeler are Cypress district property. Those are assets of the Cypress district.
Well, surely this is a picture looking at one of the maintenance buildings or something like that in the Cypress Park, right?
Well, no, actually, that is the property that Robert Berry is said to have purchased in his little storage facility or business that he has been building or cultivating right there at the entrance of the park for a boat storage facility.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that allegedly he was using taxpayer assets, basically, or taxpayer equipment for his own personal gain? Is that what this photo purports to show?
Well, that was what was alleged that was what was alleged to us, is that he was using park assets for his personal benefit on his personal property. Now, I got to tell you, I mean, surely Walt Bigby, who I mean, I'm guessing is entitled and has stuck a thumb in the rest of that board out there. Your buddy Gary White, and
Gary
all of those,
Watch, yeah.
and Doug Rimmer and the police jury who refused to do anything about it. Surely, I mean, they don't condone, public use of assets for personal gain. But you know what? This is just sitting here. Maybe they ran out of storage facility at the Cypress District. Maybe, right?
Well, surely they rented this property from Barry, or maybe the other way around. Maybe he rented the equipment from the Cypress District. But if not, what's alleged is true, does that mean I can go out there and use that?
Well, I went through the Cypress District minutes, and I didn't ever see any kind of agreement, Rex. I'm just wondering.
I followed that extensively. Yeah, I followed that extensively, and I don't remember either. And so supposedly that's the Cypress District's four-wheeler too. So if I need to borrow one for, to go deer hunting, or it's all deer season's pretty much done now, but let's say squirrel hunting, can I go borrow the Cypress District's four-wheeler?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking so. I mean, and I could really use that backhoe, but you know what? It's just sitting there. I mean, I don't. It's just sitting there. That doesn't mean that anything's been done wrong with it just sitting there, right?
Well, in theory, no.
Okay, well, so look, we got that tip, and I'm going to go ahead and put this out here. So based on that tip, the next day, and you guys don't butcher me for my dirty windshield of my vehicle here, but the next day, I rode over there myself to see if those assets were still sitting there, to see if that was right or wrong or whatever. And I think go to cut 9, and I actually made a video. And when I made the video, Rex, what I will show you is, if you look right out there, the backhoe, somebody was on the backhoe working.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Right? You see it moving?
Yeah, must have been an earthquake going on, but we'll forgive you.
It was moving around out there. Well, you know who was on the backhoe?
Well, I just can't imagine who was on that backhoe on Robert Barry's property.
Well, it was Robert Barry. I seen him with my own eyes.
The man, the myth, and the legend himself.
It was him. And you know what he's doing? He's probably got 10, 20 loads of dirt. He's spreading dirt for the next building or whatever he's going to build out there. He's out there spreading dirt. But here's the ironic thing. This was on a weekday at about 10:45 in the morning.
Whoa.
Now, what's significant about that?
Yeah, what is significant about that? I'm just waiting with bated breath.
Well, I think I recall park district meetings where he works out there 24 hours a day. He does so much work. That's the justification for him having the highest paid park director in the country salary, right? Isn't that what I recall?
Oh, yeah. Well, they've got up and stood up for him and defended him and all that.
So I'm just wondering if this is park assets and it's during the middle of the day and he's out on, park equipment using park assets on his private property to spread dirt. I mean, I'm just wondering, the Cypress District, Walt Bigby, I mean, your family's getting statues and stuff. I'm just wondering, are y'all going to make him the director again? I mean, I guess y'all approved all this.
AJ and Mandy Foy are wondering a different thing. Who's paying for the diesel?
I'm wondering about the police jury. This is y'all's guy. He's your guy. I mean, a lot of people tried to raise issues with you and you just sloughed it off. I mean, where is, what's that police jury up here in my district?
Oh, Philip.
Oh, yeah, Philip Rogers. I remember a meeting at a church in Benton where Philip Rogers was kind of dismissive of all this stuff. And
yeah.
Oh, by the way, Rex, I've heard a little bit about Philip. I heard Philip cut him a really sweetheart deal with the Cypress District.
Are you referring to his sweetheart lease deal that he got?
I heard he got him a sweetheart lease deal on some land. I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
That is true.
I'm
As a matter of
wondering how
fact, I have a copy of the lease somewhere that I can dredge up.
I'm wondering how that works out. I mean, because the police jury races are all coming up, and I mean, a lot of people think Philip walks on water. I
Yeah.
mean, Philip walks on water, but so you seen some video right there of Robert Berry using allegedly park
Mhm.
equipment on his private property during a workday when he was supposed to be on duty at the park as the park director. So now there is another cut. I think I don't think it's cut 11. So
Oh, okay.
the next day I went
Yeah,
back to
give me a
see
second.
maybe
Let me put
how
this one
much
in there. Okay.
just how much time he spent. Well, you see all that yellow out there?
He moved a lot of dirt around.
He moved a heck of a lot of dirt. In fact, he had to have spent most of the day the previous day moving all that dirt, maybe even some of that day, the next day moving dirt, but he got it all spread.
Yeah.
And
Well,
with that
good for
backhoe
him. I mean, who else was going to do it?
yeah. So I'm wondering for everybody watching, what local public official, do you think your Cypress district, your unelected board of bureaucrats that say that everything they're doing out there is for your interest? I'm wondering, you think they will do anything about this? Do you think they will question any of it? Or do y'all think they're just going to rubber stamp it? I mean,
Hey,
I'm wondering I'm wondering if Queen David's insurance policy covers park assets,
yeah,
being utilized for construction projects off location. Does
that's
his
a good
insurance
question.
policy cover all that?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he could answer that.
Where does
Maybe
it go?
he could
And
answer that.
look, folks, it's like we said before, and I won't harp on the Cypress District stuff too much, but it starts with the Cypress District. This may seem like small potatoes, but this is the crux of everything that this show is about and fighting the Good Old Boys Network. It's not just, a backhoe and the park director allegedly using a backhoe. It's the point of how they treat everything and do everything and then come out publicly and, say differently. It's just a fiasco, and it's the Good Old Boys.
And you heard Rimmer, talk about, well, we need the experience, because if you don't have the, experience up there, just going on about that crap, whatever. And then I made the point, oh, you mean the experience to know whether or not you appoint an administrator in violation of state law, that experience to know the law. Is that what you're talking about? Because the state law says, oh, they have to be, an elector in the parish. And, Jeff Sadow points out exactly that, oh, by the way, that person's homestead exemption is in Caddo Parish. Rimmer said it's been corrected. So you try to validate that, and guess what? Oh, you don't know this, Rex. You got to have 25 elector signatures, from people within Bossier to get that public information request. So I'm going to put a public announcement to folks. Hey, we need 25 volunteers to sign up for a public information request. And if you're willing to participate, you can come by my office anytime and sign that form, and so that we can get that public information request of if the registrar of voters has done an investigation into individuals registering to vote, in Bossier that are not qualified to be registered in Bossier.
Yeah.
You got to, it's a weird stipulation in the law. Anyway, I'm asking for 25 people to swing by and sign a document for me.
Yeah. It's putting the call out now. All right.
Message me and I'll tell you where to come see me, or I'll come to you.
Okay, Mr. Lowry. We have covered a whole lot of stuff tonight, and we're at 2.5 hours. My goodness, that's back-to-back shows running on nearly marathon. I think our record is over 3 hours, but
It does, David Crockett, but this is a totally different ball game, one that you don't even know anything about. Jeff Sadow is all up in the middle of this one. But I'm wondering, everybody watching, was that worth the wait? You got to see video right here in your backyard where your tax dollars, are, it seems clear to us, as being abused. Maybe there could be a lot of reasons. Maybe the park sold the backhoe to Robert Berry.
Maybe so.
Maybe the park sold it and disposed of it to someone else, and they let him borrow it. I'm sure
Maybe there is a valid reason. I'm sure they can come up with one.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be something, but you've seen it for yourself.
Yeah. All right, folks, we appreciate everybody. I mean, we were still at 55, 60 people at 2.5 hours. That's absolutely incredible. So we appreciate everybody that's watching, everybody that's commenting, everybody that watches the show after the fact. Even if you don't watch it live, we appreciate you very much. The normal spill, if you got information you want to send to us, you want it to remain anonymous, go make a free protonmail.com account. Don't put any identifying information in it. Send an email to bossierwatch@protonmail.com. We do read all of those, and if there is action or actionable information, we will check it out. If you feel like donating a little bit, we appreciate all the help that we get. Go to bossierwatch.com or .org. It doesn't matter. And there's a donations button there. We do have coffee mugs for sale on the website as well. We appreciate the couple of orders for those that we got in. We make a couple of dollars on the coffee mugs, which helps pay for this. The software that we're using is not free. But anyway, so we appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you 1 week from today if something else more important doesn't come up sooner than that. What do you say, Mr. Lowry?
I say as I'm texting people, texting me information as the show's winding up. They're all fired up. So, hey, see y'all next week. Thank y'all for watching.
All right.